All right, for all of the one or two of you that have been viewing my Mission Impossible franchise review, I'm on to the fourth one, and I have some thoughts to share about it. Brad Bird of The Incredibles fame tries his hand at live action here with the fourth installment in the Mission Impossible franchise, and I think he has helmed the best one so far. This film takes all of the best elements from the previous three movies and just throws them together so well. Even the stuff from the second one. So I would say the first one, big plus, was the spy stuff. Um, it was all a big spy game, and that was intriguing. Wasn't huge on stunts. The second one, nothing but stunts, nothing but cool stuff. But it was cool. It was just over the top and didn't really fit too well. The third one had the family element that kind of drove the plot. This one gets kind of back to the roots of the first one. There's a lot more cool, toned down spy stuff. Some of the most intense, nail biting scenes are just scenes where two characters are having a conversation. And that's sometimes that's better, that's more gripping than the coolest stunt. But on the subject of stunts, it has one of the most intense, like cringeworthy stunts you've seen in any movie. It's where he's climbing on the outside of the Burj Khalifa hotel in Dubai. The way that's shot, just I got a little bit of a fear of heights, and it's hard for me to watch. And then it still manages to incorporate a little bit of the family element. It's way not front and center. It's kind of a minor, it's kind of a subplot for Ethan and this new character's relationship. But I think it works pretty well. It's there enough to ground Ethan in a little bit of reality and to make the overall proceedings more than just going after the MacGuffin. Now, while this one incorporates elements from the previous movies, what it has over those movies in spades is the pacing. Unlike the other movies that kind of have, I don't know, like an initial exciting scene and then some downtime while it sets up the main plot and then it gets going, this thing drops you right in to the main storyline. You're already in the middle of the mission essentially, and you just hit the ground running, literally, and it just never stops until the end. It never takes a break, and that's not a bad thing. Because honestly, maybe if you had time to think about it a little more, some of the stuff might just seem a little bit more absurd. Not only is the action shot well and acted well to keep you in suspense, but the choices of location for the action scenes and the big stunts was pretty unique and really kept some spice in it. Like you got, of course, he's scaling the sheer face of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, thrilling stuff. But then there's a car and on foot chase through a sandstorm, and then the big climactic final fist fight happens on an elevator parking garage, like cars getting moved around on platforms constantly. It was just all around. The action is just something else in this movie. It's really great. But it is just gripping from the opening sequence, and it does not let you off the ride until the credits roll. Which, speaking of the credits rolling, this is the first one. Now that I have already watched the fifth one. I'll have my review up later for that one. But right before the credits roll, I noticed something that's a first for the Mission Impossible franchise. Is this one definitely leads into the fifth one. It's literally the last scene of the movie is setting up the events that happen in the fifth one. All the other ones seem to be their own little separate plots, their own little separate missions that have nothing to do with one another. So it's kind of interesting that they're now starting to try to make it like a big overarching story, and I'm curious to see if they can sustain that, because these movies are like, at least with this one, by and large they have been, but this one is definitely like a gut punch of adrenaline, and it's just, I'm wondering if they try to support a larger overarching story, if that pacing and that excitement is gonna wane a little bit. But we'll just have to wait and see. What can I say about the cast that I haven't said in the previous reviews? They're all great. Tom Cruise kills it, of course. Simon Pegg's character gets a bigger role in this movie, and I think it pays off really well. He's a fun comic relief character. I was a little sad to see that Ving Rhames was not in this movie. I thought he was a fun. Well, while the teams changed up a lot, movie to movie, he was like a constant, and I thought he was kind of a cool character and a strange choice for like the hacker guy. So that was a little bit disappointing, but it wasn't a big deal going forward because everyone did a great job. I thought Jeremy Renner's character was a pretty good addition to the cast. I thought he did a good job being the kind of new guy in the field who kind of has a little bit of a secret behind him. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen the fourth Mission Impossible yet. But it creates a different angle for the character and for the dynamic with Ethan Hunt that I thought made the film a little bit more interesting. The only negative for me, I would say, is it goes for like little cheap jokes every once in a while, like dad level jokes, like you'd see them on a sitcom and there should be a laugh track. Like they tell it and then there's like a pause for all the characters to laugh, and it just feels like there should be a laugh track behind them, like a live studio audience. It felt a little awkward and out of place sometimes, and it just kind of made me go ugh, every time. It only happens a few times. It in no way screwed up the pace or the storytelling or ruined characters. It didn't do anything like that. It was just in the middle of the frenetic action and plot playing out. Those little jokes, they just wanted some lighthearted humor, but it felt a little cringeworthy to me. I don't know. I don't think it was either written well or not delivered well. I'm not sure, honestly, but it was just kind of awkward. So yeah, all in all, I think this was a fantastic movie and definitely the best in the Mission Impossible franchise so far. It had the perfect dose, perfect balance of high wire action stunts and some good old fashioned spy stuff, some like clever, interesting, complex scenes that don't just raise the hair on your arms because it's, he's climbing on a skyscraper, but it's like, oh, they got to pull this off just right. They got to have a conversation with this person and say just the right things so they don't get caught, and everyone's in disguise, and it's just that kind of fun spy stuff. And I just think it strikes that perfect balance, and I hope they continue that in the rest of the franchise. I hope they don't turn into the Fast and Furious franchise where I guess the filmmakers of that franchise has heard that the stunts in those movies are just so crazy, so bananas. So now every new movie that comes out in that series is like, well, it's all going to be about these stunts. We got to have the next big stunt, and the whole movie, all the movies revolve around the stunts. And it's kind of the same way with the Mission Impossible movies at this point in the franchise, where when they're marketing the films, it's all about, look at these stunts. These stunts in this movie are just out of this world, and Tom Cruise does his all stunts. It's crazy. But so far, while that's been true, they've still managed to keep a fun, clever, just an overall entertaining picture that's not just reliant on the stunts. It's a more well-rounded series than the Fast and Furious movies, and I hope it stays that way. Fingers crossed. But as of the fourth one in the franchise, I can say it's one of the best. It's one of the best movies in the franchise, or it is the best movie in the franchise, but it's one of the best franchises around, in my opinion. Just good quality entertainment. I would give this one like a 96%. Just loved it. So like I said, I've already watched the fifth one, so I'll have that review up shortly as well. But until then, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.